So unless you've been living under a rock, you would have heard of the Ishizu cards, which have been terrorizing people in the OCG. As for the TCG, we're actually going to be getting them in Magnificent Mavens, which will be out in November 3rd, so just in time for YCS Pasadena. Anyways, this medium-sized engine is made of 4 different monsters and 2 trap cards, as well as some other cards that you can play if you want to. And this is really, really good in the Tier Laments deck, which is by far the best deck in the OCG, especially considering the fact that Toad is now banned. But even when Toad was still out there, the deck was still pretty much on par with the full power Splite deck. And just in case you're wondering why are the cards called the Ishizu cards, it's because they are all cards that were played by the character Ishizu from the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and she kind of had that special power of being able to see in the future thanks to the Millennium Necklace. The engine typically consists of 3 copies of Agido and Kelbeck, as well as 2 to 3 copies of Mudora and Keldo. And then you may also choose to play 1 Gravekeeper's Trap and 1 Exchange of the Spirit for the extra effects that is going to be applied to your monsters, as well as your Gravekeeper's Trap. But yeah, do take note that Exchange of the Spirit isn't really used as an actual trap card for its effect, but rather just to give the bonus to all of your other cards. And of course, since the Ishizu monsters are all fairy monsters, Earth Fairy for that matter, they're all sendable off of Herald of Orange Light and sendable off of Diviner of the Heralds. Now the question that you've all been waiting for. But what do they do? I'll simplify this as much as possible by trying to divide the monsters in 2 categories. We have the millers and the shufflers. So the millers are the Agido and Kelbeck because they both have the common effect of being able to mill 5 cards whenever they're sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard. Both players have to mill 5 cards, so do take note that it can help the opponent, especially in a format where everybody's playing the Ishizu cards as well as Tier Laments. And also they do have another extra effect if you have Exchange of the Spirit in the grave at the end of the effect when it is applied. So for Kelbeck, you get to set a trap card from a grave to the field if you have Exchange of the Spirit in the grave. And for Agido, you can make any player mill an extra 5 cards if, again, you have Exchange of the Spirit in your grave. So that's it for the millers, and now for the shufflers, we have Keldo and Mudora. So both of them have the exact same second effect, where they can banish themselves from the field or graveyard in order to make any 3 cards from any graveyard shuffled back into the deck. However, if you have Exchange of the Spirit in your grave, you can actually target up to 5 cards instead. And their first effect is also relatively the same, almost. You have to discard 1 other Earth Fairy monster from your hand to special summon them, and then they generate you a resource. So for Keldo, you get to search any Ishizu card, and for the Kelbeck, you get to activate a Gravekeeper's Trap directly from your deck to the field. That means that you get to use its effect right away in order to search any of your Ishizu card as well. And another extremely noteworthy thing to mention is the fact that Kelbeck is a hand trap on your opponent's turn, because whenever your opponent mills a card from the hand or deck to the grave, you can summon the Kelbeck and then bounce back 1 monster upon controls. And also the Agido is a huge extender. All of them being level 4 monsters means that you can make Baguska, Dweller, Time Thiever, Doer, Zeus, etc., which really increases the ceiling level of this deck dramatically, and that's the reason why Tier Laments is such a good deck, even through D-Barrier. Anyways, Gravekeeper's Trap is also no joke because, again, it gets to search any Ishizu monster by discarding any card from the hand. And obviously, you can use its effect on turn 1, even though it's a trap card, because you can place it face up from your deck directly thanks to Mudora. And obviously, if you have Exchange of the Spirit, the card is even better because it kind of applies a one-sided Dweller and Sanafont to your opponent. So your opponent can't activate monster effects or card effects at all in the graveyard, and also cannot revive back monsters from the graveyard. So imagine when you're playing this in Tier Laments and then you get to mill 5 cards or 10 cards with your Kelbeck and Agido. For sure, you're gonna mill like a Shuttle Beast and a Tier Lament monster, meaning that it is very likely to be able to summon Winda on turn 0 if you're going second, actually. And of course, you can get your engine started just by going into Kid Kalos, searching a Tier Laments monster, and then you get to send your Kid Kalos to the grave, revive back any Tier Laments, mill an extra 5 cards, and I think you can get where this is going. Moral of the story, this engine is absurd, and it will definitely make Tier Laments an extremely top tier level deck, even if Toad remains in the metagame. And I think if Toad gets banned, Tier Laments is going to be like tier -1 with literally absolutely zero competition. So definitely do keep that into consideration. However, before we get the Ishizu cards, I don't believe that Tier Laments is going to be tier 0 or anything close to that, but rather tier 1, and good enough to compete with just about any deck that currently exists, and potentially Splite. But that's pretty much all I had to say for this video. Let me know your thoughts about this engine in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.